And I can remember and recall our first session in January, where that was such a revelation, and it was a clearing that you helped, when I had realized and felt such deep guilt about a conversation I'd had with a school friend back when I was 13 or 14. And whilst I don't need to go into details here, the outcome of that conversation led to me carrying such a huge responsibility and guilt. And I've been carrying that around for like 44 years. And I didn't realize how that guilt was impacting so many parts of my daily life, who I was. And I remember when we did the clearing, how I felt this enormous amount of deep sadness and regret and guilt. And that was able to come out, and I was able to have the conversation with that person. And I remember hugging her. I remember that so clearly in this clearing, and that all of this came out, and it just fell out of me. And after that had cleared, I felt so much better, so much like a huge burden had lifted from me. You don't really know how much you've been hurting yourself until the hurt's no longer there. And for me, that was massive, because I've carried that around for all of my adult life, even though it hasn't been something that's been in my uppermost mind all of that time, but it has shaped who I am, or who I was. And now I don't have that guilt. I don't have that deep feeling of regret. It's gone. It's totally gone.
Fantastic. I just love it. I love it.
It was such a huge thing, Anne.
Yeah.
Feeling all of that. It was like being there and being able to apologize, and being able to clear that, and for that person to have validation from that person was incredible. It really was. It's changed such a huge thing in my life.
Brilliant. I just love the transition that you've gone through, and how much courage you've shown all the way through as well, to keep going with everything that's needed to be cleared as well.
It's been, it's an ongoing journey, and we're still clearing. And every time something comes up, sometimes it takes me quite by surprise. There has been sorry, that's my bird in the background. Yeah. And there was one occasion where you shared with me that you thought that my mother kept coming up, and I hadn't wanted to admit that. That was a few weeks ago, and I hadn't wanted to, because I didn't want to feel guilty about saying that there were things I needed to clear about that. But that's okay. And, I don't think you can do this level of deep work without having somebody hold your hand, because you could get yourself into such I think you could actually come out of that situation much worse if you haven't got support, guidance, and somebody to walk that journey with you. Because some of it's very confronting, because we're confronting our fears and our feelings of guilt and all of those things that have been impacting our lives negatively. And so I think it's really, really so important to have somebody that can guide you through that process, and and hold your hand. And that's what you do. That's what you do for me.